I can't believe Lakeway is getting this. Jeremy Knight, the Night Group, your favorite Austin realtor. Look, a lot of people have kind of said things in the comments in the past to me about not doing enough videos about Lakeway. Luckily, the announcement of this big mixed-use development is out, so I get to talk about it. Now, I don't talk about Lakeway enough, and that's because sometimes in the comments, people get a little cranky. When I talk about areas like Lakeway, which has a median home price of like $860,000, people think that I am just trying to sell to a higher-end crowd. Whatever the case may be, I'm here today to talk about Lakeway. So why don't you drop a comment below and tell me what you think. Regardless, talk to me about Lakeway, talk to me about this video, other videos, just drop a comment below. So I definitely want to talk about what's coming to Lakeway. I'm going to save that for the end of the video because this is really, really cool what's coming to Lakeway. But let's talk about Lakeway in general. Now, when I was looking to move out of Austin, Lakeway was one of those areas I heavily considered. I love Lakeway. I love the Serene Hills. The area is right outside there, Bee Cave. You have Spicewood just around the corner, Steiner Ranch. So all of those little areas, those suburbs just west of Austin are pretty nice. Now look, Lakeway is 25 miles from downtown. The biggest problem that most people have with Lakeway is that once you're into Lakeway, it's kind of hard to get all the way through Steiner and around and over to downtown. Really, there's only like two ways in. You have to take, the 70 all the way down to 620. The other way is 22 and up around 620. And so that's one of the cons that most people have. But why do people like Lakeway? Well, if you think about Lakeway, Lakeway used to be a retirement area. People would move to this area, so it was kind of quiet. And now there's an influx of people moving to Lakeway. But why? Well, number one, beautiful views. It is gorgeous area to live. Like this $4.7 million house listed by my friend Eric Moreland. This house is amazing. It's $4.7 million and you have beautiful views of the lake and just stunning views. So why are families deciding to move into the Lakeway area and further away from Austin? Well, it's partly to do that the schools are all rated an A+. Now each school is different, but it's one of the best rated school districts in the area behind Eanes ISD, and you have where I moved, Dripping Springs, and it was definitely a hard choice between Lakeway and Dripping Springs. Both are about 40 minutes from downtown, depending on how fast you drive and what you drive. And, they both are secluded hill country, great views. I ultimately chose this area in Dripping Springs because it's a little quieter than Lakeway. I did say earlier that Lakeway is quiet, but there's a lot of hustle and bustle on the 620 in that area. Now, some of the other cool things about Lakeway is that there's like 4 golf courses out there. You have like Falcon Head, and then you have the courses at Lakeway, and that's where a lot of that kind of retiree area was. The other thing is that there's like the Lakeway Park where you can launch and go play on the lake, or there's plenty of marinas where you can have your boat and take off and go enjoy the lake. And then you get to see Sometimes Island, which looks at the Oasis, or you can see the Sometimes Island from the Oasis, but the Oasis isn't really Lakeway. Anyway, so you have those cool things about Lakeway, the parks, the lakes, the views, the golf courses. Another big draw for a lot of people when they're looking at Lakeway is they have a very big hospital. So if you think about it, this was a retiree area. Having the big hospital is pretty keen for a lot of people. Now, again, the school districts being one of those things that people absolutely move to this area for. But where are they moving to? A lot of people I talk to are wanting to move to Rough Hollow. So Rough Hollow is kind of a newer neighborhood. So depending on where you go, you can pick some, maybe a nice builder like Weston Homes or one of the other builders that's in there. And you can pick out some of the finishes that you want. Now there's a lot of inventory in this area right here, but there's also some really cool neighborhoods like the Ridge at Alta Vista, Lakeway, Cardinal Hills, and Apache Shores. Now Apache Shores has an Austin address, but you do kind of have some really cool views on the backside of the hill there. Now there's a lot of restaurants and shopping along the 620, which is what we're going to get to about this new shopping center they're putting on. And one of my favorite things actually in Lakeway is the Lakeway Resort. I've been there several times. Now the negative, especially on the west side of 620, is that a lot of these roads are like 35 miles an hour and cops will pull you over, and they love giving tickets in these areas. So you really do have to drive the speed limit. But getting out to Lakeway Resort, they've got great views. You can launch boats. They got a great pool. They got fine dining, all that fun stuff. So I really like the Lakeway Resort. But if you're looking at some of the other cons for the Lakeway area, there's zero public transportation. there's really no employment opportunities. A lot of the people that are moving to Lakeway are either working from home, or maybe they work at the hospital there, or they're in some kind of medical profession. So Lakeway just doesn't have a ton of, jobs. If you think about Austin, a lot of the tech companies are downtown. A lot of the people that want to be and work downtown live more like Westlake, Circle C, so a little bit closer to downtown. Even Steiner Ranch. Steiner Ranch is kind of closer, but if you live down Steiner Ranch towards the end, it's like a 45-minute drive just to get out of Steiner Ranch. So that's one of the reasons people don't like Steiner Ranch, but that's not what the video is about. The other thing is there's not a ton of nightlife. Now there's some bars and restaurants and things to go to, but as far as like nightlife things like going downtown, there's just not a ton of those things. Yet again, all the positives, it's still a gorgeous place to live. Now let's get back to some of the homes, because I talked about a $4.7 million home. I also told you the median price was about 860. If you're going to be in the Rough Hollow area, which a lot of people are looking into, the tax rate's around 2.8%. You're going to get a home really between 8 and $1 million is kind of where you're looking at. One thing that I don't like about Rough Hollow, and I think what was the ultimate decision why I didn't move to Lakeway, a lot of the developers put in see-through fencing. And so like you literally can see all the way down on the street in your neighbor's backyards. And that's just not a thing I really like. So that's one reason I don't like some of the neighborhoods personally in Lakeway. Now there's some beautiful neighborhoods, like I said, Rough Hollow is one of them. But if you don't want to live in Lakeway and still go to the Lakeway schools or Lake Travis schools, then you have like the Serene Hills area, which is just south. Now if you're looking in there, you're looking well over $1 million. You can go over to Spicewood. There's some really nice neighborhoods in Spicewood that are not $1 million and still take advantage of the Lake Travis School District and Lakeway. But if you're going to buy some of the other homes in the established neighborhoods like Lakeway, you're going to probably have to buy it and put in a lot of renovation, because some of these homes are in the 70s, 80s. Again, this was a retirement community. So keep that in mind. If you're looking at some of these homes, they're going to be kind of dated, and you're going to spend some money upkeeping them for a median price of around $850, $860. One other con that I hear about the Lakeway area is there's really not a lot of affordable housing. If you look in this area, there's just not very many apartments or rentals for that matter. Now, one positive, if you're looking at Lakeway, Lakeway has a lot of communities that don't have an HOA, and they're outside of Austin, so you don't have the same Airbnb rules as you would living in Austin. So that's one reason why I personally have clients kind of looking in this area, because they want to get an Airbnb close to the lake. So that is kind of a pro, or depending on how you look at it, could be a con if you have people having Airbnbs around you. But let's talk about things to do. And that was one of the cons, right? There's just not a whole lot to do. Let's talk about this. A $500 million project is going into the Loman Crossing area, and this is going to be the Loman Square. Now, if we look at this, they're going to have mixed residential use. They have, it looks like, some residential buildings, so they'll most likely have some apartments that go in there. Hopefully they're affordable. I doubt they will be. Yeah, they're going to have office space in here, which is going to be nice. They're also going to have mixed use. They're going to have a hotel. Some other amazing things they're going to have here at Loman Square is outdoor gathering spaces to accommodate families and friends, including parks featuring an amphitheater, pavilion, public restrooms, and a splash pad. But there's also going to be more shopping and more things to do. And this is going to be about a $500 million mixed use complex. And I think this is going to be a pretty vital complex for Lakeway, because as they continue to grow, they do need more things to do. I mean, there's a big influx of people moving there. And when you have a community that used to be known for the quiet life, being a retiree center, and now you have a lot of kids and things to do, I think that's why people are looking at this area. So what do you think? Do you think that the Loman's Crossing complex is going to be an awesome look for Lakeway, or do you want it to keep it nice and quiet and not talk about it? There you go. Drop a comment below. We'd love to hear from you. Jeremy Knight from the Knight Group. Have a great day.